When I was in high school, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do in university. My family and friends were pressuring me to go into science or a STEM program. I felt interested in languages and English, but I didn't see a career that I wanted in that. And I was really interested in environmental sustainability. I applied to some life sciences and environmental biology programs, but ultimately I enrolled in an environmental studies program. My original plan at the time was to go to law school after and become an environmental lawyer, which a lot has changed since then. If you're new here, hi, my name is Rosemary. I am a master's student living abroad in Germany, and I study Earth observation and GIS. In this video, I will be telling you about my journey doing my environmental studies degree, giving you all kinds of information about what courses I took, how I enjoyed it, and hopefully give you some advice that will help you decide if it's right for you, and also how I ended up in a Master's of Science degree at the end and what I see myself doing with it in the future. So it all started in high school when I applied to environmental studies and I enrolled in the program. I knew this program was just going to be a stepping stone for me. I didn't see myself getting a good career out of it without doing a master's or law school or something like that afterwards, which you can absolutely get some jobs with just an environmental studies degree, but I would say you probably don't have as many opportunities as if you do a master's or get more experience before going into the job market. My main advice for applying to undergrad, if you're in that position, is to go with your gut. Definitely take advice from your family, your friends, your mentors, your teachers. But at the end of the day, you're the one in the program. You have to live with the outcome, and you should really go with your intuition. Obviously, don't go into something just because you love it if you can't see it working out for you long term, of course, but make sure you go into something that you really like and also you have some kind of plan for. So my undergrad, I did 4 years of environmental studies in Ontario. Every school and every city or country around the world will be different, of course, but I think a lot of the basic environmental studies structure is the same. You take a lot of courses in basic environmental theory, environmental policy, so the more social side of the field. However, you also take some science courses too, like in ecology, climatology, physical geography, and earth sciences, and also GIS, which stands for Geographic Information Systems, and it's more of the technological programming and mapping side of the field. This is usually different to environmental sciences, which has a lot more science courses, probably some math courses, and usually a lot more mandatory science courses. Than in environmental studies, you can kind of choose a lot of the time if you want to do the science or not. In environmental studies, I also had a lot of electives and the freedom to explore my interests through these electives. For me, this was really great because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, so I was able to test out a lot of different options. I even took courses in English literature, writing, German. I did like 6 semesters of German in my undergrad, environmental ethics, and I actually ended up doing extra courses in GIS and statistics and programming just because I thought they would help me down the road with what I wanted to go into. And this was all possible because I had so many electives. Every university is different for this again too, but I had some fieldwork opportunities. I was able to do 1 week in Quebec for a fieldwork course. We sampled plants in the forest. We took measurements of water quality and water depth from canoes. It's really interesting. I also did 2 weeks in Zanzibar in Africa, which I thought was super cool and really interesting, and a really good experience. We did coral reef surveys, snorkeling, beach profiling, and even some human geography and more cultural studies. Overall, in my program, I pretty quickly realized that the social and policy side of environmental studies wasn't actually for me, and that environmental law was looking less and less likely for my future. However, that being said, I know a lot of people who still really enjoy that side of environmental studies after doing their undergrad, so it really just depends on your interests. I really thought I would like it, and it turns out I didn't. You really don't know until you try. I think for me, I realized it wasn't for me when I had to read through a lot of legal and political documents to do research for projects for these courses. I just couldn't stand it. I'd much rather read through like scientific research papers, which I don't particularly enjoy reading through those, but this just puts it in perspective. I definitely found that I did enjoy the more information technology side of things. I really liked my GIS courses, and I took a remote sensing course, which I really liked. If you don't know, remote sensing or Earth observation, it's the study of the natural or built environment using remotely sensed data. So from a satellite or a drone, it really goes hand in hand with GIS because a lot of the analysis is done in GIS technologies and combined with GIS methods. Definitely not a field for everybody, but that's just my story. That's what I decided I was passionate about. And so in my 4th year of undergrad, I did my undergraduate thesis in remote sensing. Basically, I just went to my remote sensing professor. I told him about how I really enjoyed the course and I wanted to do more research in it. And I did my bachelor's thesis. I would love to make a video in the future of doing a bachelor's thesis because it was a huge undertaking and a huge learning experience. I really learned a lot from it, and while I don't think it's for everyone, I would definitely recommend doing it if you think you're going to go into research or a thesis-based master's down the road, which at the time I kind of knew already is what I wanted to do. Which leads me into grad school. So in my last year, I applied for grad school. I applied for a master's program in Germany. My specialization in my master's program is in Earth observation and geospatial science. Master's programs are very different everywhere you go. For me, I pretty much have like 1 year of coursework, 2 internships, each a couple months long, and then finally a master's thesis, which takes around half a year to a year to write. Overall, my undergraduate degree was a good stepping stone for me. I learned a lot, I was able to explore a lot of my interests, and it guided me in the direction of where I am now. And actually, even though I did a Bachelor of Arts, I'm still going to end up with a Master of Science at the end of the day. So if you think doing environmental studies instead of a more STEM-focused program like environmental sciences, if you think it won't give you the same opportunities, you might be right in some cases, but you also could definitely still go into sciences after environmental studies. You have to choose the right master's program that will take you, but it's definitely possible and not a problem in my opinion. And so finally, I want to talk about career prospects. Where do I see myself after doing my master's? Obviously, I still have a couple more years in my master's, and honestly, I don't know for sure yet where I see myself. Currently, the top options I have in mind are maybe working with an NGO in the nonprofit sector or with the government. I'm originally from Canada, so I do see myself moving back there to get a job afterwards. Doing a PhD is an option in my mind. I think it depends a lot on how my master's thesis goes, because even my undergrad thesis was a lot. So if my master's thesis is just too much, then yeah, I probably won't do a PhD thesis, but it is an option. One thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is more of the science communication and environmental education side of sustainability. I probably don't see myself getting a job in that, but it is something that I'm interested in and thinking about more. I also look forward to building more connections through my internships and guest lectures in my program. And overall, I think the internships are going to be super helpful for deciding what kind of jobs I like and what kind of jobs I don't like. And overall, I'm really happy with how my master's program has a significant coursework component, because while I did take a lot of GIS courses in my undergrad, I think the courses I've taken so far in my master's have really improved my confidence in these technologies. And I also have more skills. For example, I've done some drone courses and I have my drone license now, which I'm really happy that I can put on my resume. So that's enough about me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about anything related to my program. I'm more than happy to answer them, and also if you'd like to see a related video from me in the future, make sure to leave it in the comments as well. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.